today's video, we're talking about filing a travel insurance claim and what actually gets paid when something goes wrong during your trip. What's up, you guys? My name's Ashley, and a lot of people buy travel insurance thinking that it just covers everything that might happen during travel. But the reality is that travel insurance only pays for specific situations, and there's usually a process involved before you get reimbursed. So in this video, we're going to break down how travel insurance claims work, what kind of expenses are typically covered, and why some claims get approved while others don't. So let's get into it. Travel insurance is a type of insurance that helps protect travelers financially if something unexpected happens before or during a trip. Instead of covering normal travel costs, travel insurance focuses on unexpected disruptions. Many travel insurance plans include several types of protection in one policy. These can include trip cancellation coverage, emergency medical coverage, travel delays, baggage protection, and trip interruption coverage. If one of these covered events happens, you may be able to file a claim with the insurance company to request reimbursement. A claim is basically a formal request asking the insurance provider to pay back certain expenses related to a covered situation. For example, if your trip gets canceled due to a medical emergency or your luggage gets lost during your travel, your policy may reimburse some of the costs depending on the coverage that you actually purchase. Now, let's talk about how the claims process actually works. So, the claims process usually starts when something unexpected happens during your trip. This could be a medical emergency, a canceled flight, a travel delay, or lost luggage. When one of these situations occurs, the traveler typically needs to document what happened and really make sure you're keeping records of expenses related to that situation. After the trip, or once the situation is resolved, the traveler submits a claim to the insurance provider. The insurance company then reviews the claim to determine whether the event qualifies under the terms of the policy. If the event is covered and the documentation is complete, the insurance company may reimburse some or all of the eligible expenses. Many travel insurance claims operate on a reimbursement basis. That means travelers usually pay the expense first and then submit the claim afterwards. Because of that, saving receipts and documentation during your trip is extremely important. Now, one of the most common travel insurance claims involves medical emergencies during a trip. If a traveler becomes sick or injured while traveling abroad, the policy may help reimburse certain medical expenses. This can include things like doctor visits, hospital treatments, diagnostic tests, and medications related to the emergency. Some policies also include coverage for emergency medical transportation. If the nearest hospital cannot properly treat your condition, the insurance provider may also help arrange transportation to another medical facility. Medical evacuation can sometimes be extremely expensive, especially if it involves specialized medical transport. Because of that, emergency medical coverage is often one of the most important parts of travel insurance policies. Another common type of claim involves trip cancellation. So, trip cancellation coverage reimburses prepaid travel expenses if you have to cancel your trip before departure due to a covered reason. Example of covered reasons may include serious illnesses, certain family emergencies, or other unexpected events listed in that specific policy. If the cancellation qualifies, the insurance policy may reimburse things like flights, hotel reservations, tours, or cruise bookings that cannot be refunded. However, it's important to understand that the cancellation must fall under the covered reason listed in the policy. Simply changing your mind about a trip usually doesn't qualify. Trip interruptions coverage applies when something forces you to cut your trip short after it has already started. For example, if a traveler experiences a medical emergency during the trip and needs to return home early, the policy may reimburse certain unused travel expenses. This might include things like unused hotel nights, prepaid activities, or new transportation costs to return home sooner than planned. Trip interruption coverage exists because unexpected events can still happen after travel has already begun. Travel delays are another situation where travel insurance claims can apply. If your flight or transportation is delayed long enough, the policy may reimburse certain necessary expenses during the delay. This can include things like meals, hotel stays, or transportation while waiting for the next available flight. Most policies require the delay to exceed a certain number of hours before coverage actually applies. The goal is to help travelers handle unexpected disruptions without paying out of pocket for every expense caused by the delay. Lost baggage is another reason travelers sometimes file claims. So if an airline permanently loses your luggage, travel insurance may reimburse some of the cost of replacing personal belongings. If luggage is delayed instead of lost, the policy may help pay for the essential items you need while waiting for the bags to arrive. This can include things like clothing, toiletries, or other basic necessities during the delay. Coverage limits usually apply to personal belongings, so reimbursement amounts may vary depending on the actual policy. Now, unfortunately, not every travel insurance claim gets approved. One of the most common reason claims get denied is that the situation does not fall under a covered reason in the policy. Travel insurance only pays for specific events listed in the coverage terms. Another common issue is missing documentation. So insurance companies usually require proof of the event and proof of the expenses before approving reimbursement. This can include things like receipts, medical records, airline reports, or confirmation documents. Without documentation, it can be really difficult for the insurer to actually verify the claim. Policies also include coverage limits, which means there is a maximum amount the insurance company will pay for certain types of claims. If you're planning a trip, it can also be helpful to look at travel insurance plans ahead of time so you understand what type of claims may be covered. Different policies include different combinations of benefits. Some focus mainly on medical emergencies, while others include broader trip protection. Also, you can go ahead and bundle some of them as well. So I wanted to talk about VisitorsCoverage. If you want to go ahead and check them out, we do have an exclusive link down in the description below. So this is actually what I used for my trip to Mexico last year, and it's really easy to get a quote. You can go ahead and once you click that link down below, you can select what you need. There's international travel medical insurance, US visitors insurance. So this is medical coverage for foreign travelers visiting the US. This is medical coverage for individuals traveling outside their home country. There's also just travel insurance, so financial protection against flight delays, lost luggage, trip cancellation. There's cancel for any reason insurance. There's cruise insurance. They really do have everything. So if you want, you can just select the one that you would like. You can go ahead and enter the destination. So maybe we're going to Canada. We'll go ahead and add age. I'm just making all of this up. So your citizenship and your residence. Then you can do your start and end date, and then they will find the best plans for you. Now, like I said, it's so important that you actually take note of what is actually covered and not just the highlights here. You need to actually read the policy. So here is Atlas International. So you can select the coverage amount. You also can select the deductible, so you can really customize it to whatever it is that you need. So as you can see, this one is urgent care, so $15 copay, 100% up to policy max, and you can select that right here. Also, doctor or physician visit up to $100, emergency room, hospitalization, prescription, and dental. Okay, so again, I highly recommend reading the actual brochure, the description of coverage, not just this highlights right here. So that way you know what's actually covered and what isn't. There's also an option to add specific add-ons, so maybe dental, vision, device protection, adventure sports. Sometimes even if you're going skydiving and something happens, like you may not be covered under just the regular medical insurance. So it's really important to make sure that you are really knowing what's covered and what isn't from the policy, because every policy is different. And this is where you can see it kind of bundles things together. So you've got the medical and just the regular travel insurance. Let's talk about the pros and cons. So one advantage of travel insurance is that it can provide financial protection when unexpected travel disruptions occur. Another benefit is that many policies cover multiple types of travel issues in one plan. Like I said, the bundling can be really, really powerful. Of course, there are some limitations. So coverage depends entirely on the policy terms, and not every situation qualifies for reimbursement. Claims also require documentation, and the review process can take time. And because of this, travelers should always review the policy details very carefully before you purchase it. Now, travel insurance can be helpful for travelers who want protection against unexpected disruptions during your trip. It could be really useful for international travel where medical treatment or emergency transportation could become expensive. Travel insurance is one of those things people often overlook until they actually need it. So understanding how claims work ahead of time can make the process just so much easier if something unexpected happens during your trip. So if you want to check out and get a free quote on VisitorsCoverage, don't forget to use our exclusive link down in the description below. I do want to mention that these are affiliate links, which means we may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you do choose to use our links, we just want to thank you so much in advance for supporting our channel. It really helps us to continue to create free content just like this. This channel is dedicated to helping you understand insurance and financial protection so you can make smarter decisions about coverage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave any comments or questions below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.